Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave today. Here I have for you literally the best Sunday breakfast, salmon cakes. It's nostalgic. My mom always used to make these. It's easy, I'm hungry, so let's get into it. So first things first, I like to start with my potatoes, just because potatoes take longer to cook, of course. So in a medium pan, I've added in a tablespoon of butter. I popped in just a medium-sized orange pepper. If you have yellow peppers or green peppers, you can certainly use those as well. And a half of a medium yellow onion. Now I'm going to give these a saute for about 2 to 3 minutes before I add in my potatoes, and which I threw in 4 Idaho potatoes. If you have russet potatoes or red potatoes, you can certainly use those as well. This is what I had on hand, so I went with using my Idaho potatoes today. Now you want to make sure your pan stays lubricated. So I did add some additional extra virgin olive oil because I don't want my potatoes to stick. As far as seasonings, you're going to get some salt, some pepper, some garlic powder. I used a little bit of the Sazon adobo, of course. And you know I like things spicy by now, so I certainly added in some red chili flakes. Now after my potatoes have cooked for about 5 minutes, I want to go ahead and add in my garlic. I added 3 freshly minced cloves of garlic because I don't want to add the garlic in too soon because of course garlic will burn. Right now you see, because potatoes are really starchy, I'm just scraping up those bits and pieces of delicious flavors so that no one gets left behind. Now I'm adding in about 3 tablespoons of water. I kind of steam, then fry my potatoes. I want to make sure they are done. So that's what you see me doing here. Pop a lid on this and let those cook for about 15 minutes. So we are using canned salmon. Yes, guys, don't trip like y'all thought I was going to pull out a whole slab of salmon and cut that bad boy up. This is what your mother used to use, okay? Make sure you remove all of those bones, or at least as many as you can. They are quite soft. They are quite fine. And I am doing this with my hand. Why? Because your hands are the best tool. So you'll see them here. I'm just trying to get that little spine, get as many of those little bits and pieces of the bones out as I possibly can. But it is hard, and I'm using my hands to break the fish up. I'm going to be using a fork, obviously, to mix and everything else, but the meat is really, really soft. As you can see, I did drain out some of the liquid, but some of it is inevitable, so I did have an additional bit of the liquid in there. So I am not using mayonnaise. I'm not a fan of mayonnaise. I know that's what I grew up with. I didn't have any, 1, but 2, I'm not using any of the mayonnaise. So that's another reason why I kept some of the juice, if you will, so that the salmon cakes weren't dry. So to this, I'm going to be adding in, I have diced up about I would say 2 tablespoons of yellow onion. That's something that my mother did. Some people don't like onion in their salmon cakes, and that's totally fine. I'm adding in a tablespoon of mustard. That is going to be my wet ingredient. Typically people will use mayonnaise in this instance, but mayonnaise and mustard actually, and I'm only using mustard for mine. I'm going to add in 1 egg, about a tablespoon of Old Bay seasoning, some salt, some pepper, and some Worcestershire sauce. Of course, all of these measurements will be down below. So after we have combined all of the wet ingredients and all of our seasonings, we're going to go ahead and give this a good mix. Now I am like mixing and folding because I want to make sure that the salmon isn't completely broken up, but I want to make sure everything gets touched. Now I do a method with my breadcrumbs of where I add some in and stir it up and add in more. The reason being is because I don't want to add too much initially and my salmon cakes end up being really dry. For this, I'm using Italian breadcrumbs. You can certainly use plain breadcrumbs, or panko breadcrumbs actually are really good in this dish too. And so the texture or the consistency that you're looking for is wet to touch, but not wet and sticky where you're getting a bunch of the product on your hand. If that makes any sense, I hope it does. When I start making them, you'll see exactly what I mean. So this time I decided to make mine as I go. So I have some oil in the pan, and this is the texture that you're looking for. You see what I mean? Like my hands are damp, but there isn't any of the salmon. And I'm just gonna make a little ball out of these and flatten them out. Make sure that your onions are tucked up in there. It should be about a palm size, and pop those right into the pan. I'm sorry about the lighting, guys. I don't know what was going on. So I'm just gonna repeat this step until all of my salmon cakes are in there. Be sure not to overcrowd your pan. You know the drill. If you overcrowd your pan, your food is going to cook evenly. It's going to start boiling in this pan. And that is not what we're looking to do. Let these cook for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side until done. Once your salmon cakes are done, make sure you go ahead and drain them on a paper towel. They look amazing. You know you got to catch all those fats though. You know, it's almost again, what? Summertime. So these are what your salmon cakes should look like when they are done. You can hear that crispiness to touch. Now I had to make sure that y'all saw how these potatoes turned out. They were cooked to perfection. There is nothing like a hot plate of breakfast potatoes. Tell me I'm lying. Throw some hot sauce. I know some people like ketchup. Do you? Do you? Once everything was done cooking, I went ahead and, I made a couple fried eggs. You know, you need some eggs on the side. This dish turned out amazing. I hope you enjoy. I hope you try it. Thank you so much for cooking with me, Sierra P. And until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.